got our first lab tomorrow. I don't know anything about chemistry. I know. That's okay. We're going to have a fun lab tomorrow. I recommend that you wear like regular shoes and not flip-flops if you can. It won't be the end of the world if you forget. And bring a hair tie if you got some hair up stuff. If you got some flow, okay? Make sure you bring a little hair tie with you. What if I forget the hair tie? I will have a few extras on me, but not a million. So that's just so your hair doesn't dip into chemicals and burn your shoulders later, okay? But anyways, we're going to do a fun lab tomorrow. It'll be a good time. We're going to make a little souvenir to take home with you that first weekend. It's pretty fun. Now, let's go ahead. Let's talk syllabus. You can tell how jazzed up I was when I did this earlier. All right, here are all the units. There in red is my name, Pilcher, P-I-L-C-H-E-R. There is no T. A lot of people like to throw a T in there, Mr. Pilcher. If you do, I won't freak out on you. You have two things that you can call me this year, Mr. Pilcher, Mr. P. Or I guess you could just say Pilcher, whatever. Does not matter to me, okay? I don't care if you say Mr. P one day and Mr. Pilcher the other day. Yeah, you do you, whatever. Here are all the units or the topics we're going to cover in chemistry, intro to chem, measurement, matter. Here's what happens, usually, something like this. Okay, intro to chemistry, be like, oh yeah, I've heard a lot of this before. You know, don't set my partner on fire, blah, blah, blah. Measurement, I know some of these, centimeters, meters, whatever. Matter, be like heterogeneous, homogeneous, be like some of you guys kind of know that, some of you guys don't kind of know that. Fine either way. And then you get to thermochem, and it's like Q equals MCAT, and joules are like, oh my sweet! I don't know anything what's happening now, okay? That's like the first unit where people are like, I have no idea what any of this is going into the unit. That's unit 3. That's like late September, October-ish range. We got a while, alrighty? That's the first unit that's like kind of tough for folks. That's coming down the pipeline. It's fun, though. We get to do a lot of good labs. What's up, Lane? You're my hero!
It worked?
Oh, it totally worked. Of course it worked.
Always do the easy thing. Don't do the hard thing.
Yeah, you're. I knew you would know the easy thing to do. I knew you would know.
It's good advice. Always do the easy thing.
It's great advice. All right. Anyways, atomic structure, quantum mechanics, periodic table, ionic bonding, chemical reactions. Then we get to this guy, stoichiometry. Yes. Yep. Yes. There it is. Love it. Okay. Yep. Great. Grand. Wonderful. That's the big daddy. Okay. That is a really difficult unit. Here's what people say on their end of the year surveys. They say, well, not everyone, but many people say something along these lines. Stoichiometry is the hardest science unit I've ever taken, period. Next sentence. But it was also my favorite unit of the year, period. What about physics? Like the class in general? Oh, it really depends on how your brain's wired. Totally depends. Totally depends. If you love math, you might have an easier time in physics. Well, I don't know. Chem has a lot of math. It just depends. It really depends. But they're sort of like next to each other rather than one's on top of the other. Does that make sense? Anyways, stoichiometry is really tough, but we'll get you to the mountaintop. We will have so much practice and learn before then. This is like February-ish, definitely after winter break. We've never gotten to stoichiometry before winter break or anywhere close. So yeah, that's coming up. That's the big one. By the end of the year, you will know how to do stoichiometry and know how chemistry really works. It's pretty fun. And then we got acids, bases, equilibrium, gas laws. We have a lot of really fun demos towards the end of the year. We bust out tie-dye. Look how beautiful my lab coat is. Isn't this pretty sweet? I made this, baby. It's so good. And then my mom sewed on buttons that match like the colors. It's pretty good. Isn't that adorable? Right? Anyways. Aww, you like this mom. Succeed in chemistry. So here are some suggestions for you to succeed in chemistry. This is not an exhaustive list. Where did my little, oh, I need this. Gotta know what time this class is out. All right. We got till 11:03. Good. No! What are you doing? Stop. What happened? Okay, we're good. All right. Positive attitude. Being positive really helps in this class because it can be kind of scary, kind of frustrating, kind of confusing at times. I try and be real fun all the time. I'm always loud. And some people are like, do you wake up this way? And the answer is yes. I don't drink coffee. I wake up all juiced, ready to go for the day. I don't know how that happens. But I just like wake up and I'll be like talking to my wife, hey, honey, what are you doing today? It's going to be blah, 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 blah. And she'll just like, she won't even say anything. She'll just be like, not right now. But anyways, yeah. Try and be positive, okay? I'm not saying that you have to come in every day. You're like, oh my God, I love chemistry so much. But you know, try and stay positive for me. It helps quite a bit. Always be cooperative. Yeah. Stay organized. Let me show you something that I hate because it's ugly. Like that, those sound like bad words. Why did you say that? Yeah! See, this is a textbook. I hate it because it's ugly. Will you ever see this again? Probably not. Okay? Unless I use it to prop something up. That's like literally the only time I ever use a textbook. I'm not joking. Sometimes I use them to like make a little stack if I want something raised up on my desk. But yeah, I hate textbooks. I don't like them. You'll make your own textbook. How do I do that? Every time I hand you a worksheet, a lab handout, a quiz, whatever, like they're hole punched. You'll notice there are 3 little holes in all your papers. Okay, that's so you can put them in your binders. Whenever you are studying for a quiz or test, you're just going to open up your binder and use that. Okay. So just stay nice and organized. If you put everything in order, unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's fine with me. If you have some random order that makes no sense to anyone except for you, doesn't matter to me as long as you can find your stuff. You do you, okay? But this will probably be the last time you see a textbook. Here it goes. It goes in this really disorganized cabinet. I close it, and that's the end of that. So now, pay attention. You need to be on top of your game mentally and physically. Chemistry is very confusing. It's really easy to fall behind. So you want to stay on top of things mentally. But you also want to be on top of things physically. Is anyone like the backpack guy where you always wear your backpack like 100% of the time? Is that you? Okay. I had a kid last year, J Mark. He always had his backpack on, which is fine with me. I don't care. But when you take like a hard left and you like hit your backpack onto like something glass, you got to be careful of that kind of thing. So watch out for that, okay? And when we're in labs, you will be using very dangerous chemicals at times. I'll teach you how to use them safely so you're fine. But if you're not following the safety rules and if you're not paying attention, because not only are you using dangerous chemicals, everyone walking around you is also using dangerous chemicals. So you have to really be like paying attention. Does that make sense? Yeah. I will teach you how to be safe. We'll have a whole like chunk of a unit on it. Yeah, you got to do what I tell you to do and be on your game, especially during lab, because things could go very badly for you. Not to freak you out, but just so you understand what you're getting yourself into. There are chemicals that can burn your skin very badly physically. Like, or get a chemical burn, a thermal burn. You can go blind. You can get caught on fire. Okay. That would be an experience, is one thing you could say about that I don't want to happen to you. Now, do I expect any of these things to happen? No. But they could easily happen if you don't do what I tell you to do. Does that make sense? So just make sure you're on top of your game. People listening at home are like, oh my God. Do all your work, all your own work on quizzes and tests, yada, yada, yada. Yes, makeup work. You need to come to me. It's on you to, if you miss a day, it's on you to come see me. Okay, find out what you missed. The number one thing to do when you're absent is go straight to Schoology. I post all lectures on Schoology as a video. Like I'm recording this right now. I post all worksheets on Schoology, all lab handouts on Schoology, all answer keys to those worksheets on Schoology. Okay? So go to Schoology and find out what you missed. And check your email like once a day when you're absent. Because sometimes they'll send you a personal message, be like, hey, Timmy, just checking in. Don't worry about this thing over here on Schoology. Or be like, hey, make sure you see this one part on Schoology. That'll help you the most. Does that kind of make sense? So just check them like once a day when you're absent. All right. I'm about to say 2 sentences to you. You're going to hate the first one and feel relieved after the second one. Here's the first one. You're not going to like it. I give a ridiculous amount of homework in this class. Period. Second sentence. That homework is never for a grade or collected. Now, here's what happens. I'm trying to remember names. You're Kai. Nice. All right. First one, Kai. So let's say I teach you something in class, Kai. In the last like 15 minutes of class, you're practicing. I throw like 20 practice problems your way, okay, on a worksheet. What's happening is during that class period of time, you do not have a choice. You have to work on those practice problems. What order you work on doesn't really matter to me most of the time. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, try number 3 first. The answer key will be right next to the worksheet as you're working on it. It'll be face down usually so you don't accidentally see an answer before you work on it. But so that way you can kind of do a couple, check a couple, make sure you're like on the right track. You can always steal the answer keys after class. They're a whole bunch. You can just take it with you if you want to. Now, the moment the bell rings, let's say you finish on problem number 5 in the end of class, okay? If doing those first 5 problems means you are totally ready for the quiz the next day, then maybe you don't do any at home. If you are like, I'm going to get smoked on that quiz tomorrow, then you should keep doing practice problems at home until you're ready to play. Does that make sense? So do as many of the practice problems I give you to the point where you're going to ace the quiz. Okay? Sometimes that means you do no practice at home. Sometimes that means you do a lot of practice at home. I'm not going to make you do problems just to make you do problems. Do as many as you need to be ready. Does that kind of make sense? Now, if you get smoked on like 4 quizzes in a row, I might be like, let me see some of your practice problems. And if they're all blank, I'll be like, that's your problem. You didn't do any practice, okay? I'm not going to grade them, but we may have discussions about them to help you. Does that make sense? Okay. By the way, when you get to a quiz, you're never going to get to a quiz like, sweet, oh my, like you're not going to be like shocked. You're going to look at the quiz and be like, wow, this looks exactly like the worksheet he gave me yesterday and the day before that and the bell work. Okay. The numbers are different, but everything else looks like basically the same. So you're not going to ever be surprised by a quiz. Like you're going to know what's on that quiz. Does that make sense? Okay. All righty. Now, that's homework. So you don't want to cram for tests. Get extra help if you can. Come see me before school, after school, during your lunch period, during my lunch period, during your study hall, whatever. As long as I know you're coming, I can usually make that work. Okay, and I can write you passes. If somehow it was just impossible for us to get our schedules to align, you can always email me. You always have Schoology. You always have friends in other classes. You always have friends in Miss Bay's class. And you all have Miss Bay. Miss Bay's on the other side of this wall. Okay, she also teaches honors chemistry. We do the same things on the same days. So if you have a worksheet for me in my class, you're like, I do not understand number 3, and Mr. Pilcher's nowhere to be found. Waltz right over to Miss Bay's class, and like, Miss Bay, I have Mr. Pilcher. Please help with number 3. And she's like, gotcha. Okay. Like her and I are step for step. We work together all the time. I'm in a room all the time discussing class from that day. So like you could totally ask her any question. She's got you. Does that make sense? All righty. Flip it over. Flip it over. Flip, 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 flip. What time are we at here? All right. Got it. There's my philosophy, blah, blah, blah. Headphones. Let's talk about headphones. If I'm talking, you don't have either one of your headphones in. So usually there's like one person who's like, oh, I like low-key got one in right now. So don't have headphones in whenever I'm talking. If during practice, which happens all the time, you want to put one headphone in, that's cool with me. Like lots of times people in their lab partner, they each have like one of the headphones in. They're kind of listening. I'm like, oh my God, I love Kesha. That's fine, but never both headphones because I need you to be able to hear me if I make any announcements or go over something or remind you of something. Does that make sense? And it's only during practice, never when I'm talking. I don't want you to have headphones on during labs ever because you have to be very aware of your surroundings and announcements I may give. And every now and then you'll hear a sound, like you hear something break. That'll happen sometimes like glass. You'll hear like gas going, that kind of thing. You just need to like be able to hear those smaller sounds and be like aware, like, okay, where'd that glass break? Am I close to it? Like, you just need to be aware. So don't have your headphones in during lab. And I'll gently remind you because it's like really easy to be like walking in class and you got your pods in and you like walk in, you forget. Like, I'll like remind you or like I'll like look at you, be like, all right, you know, one of those. So don't like, it's not that big of a deal, but don't want them in. No food. This is a state law. This like you just can't have food in chemistry classrooms. That's just like end of the line. So if you walk in with food, stuff in your backpack, be like, but it's like ketchup and fries, but like stuff in your backpack or the trash can. Doesn't matter to me, but it can't be out. Does that make sense? Because there's stuff all over these lab tables, especially after we do a lot of labs. You don't want that in your body. You're allowed to have water, or you know, if it's not a see-through bottle, there happens to be Coke in there, whatever. I won't know. As long as you can do this, you can turn it upside down and nothing comes out, then we're good. So stuff with straws, no good. Open cans, no good. That kind of thing. She's like, oh my God. It's fine for today. Not a big deal. But it has to have a seal. Does that make sense? So I have to have a seal on it. If you walk in, you like crack a monster right when you're walking in, I'll be like, all right, this is really awkward, but you got to throw that out. I'm sorry. It's not my rule though. Like that is a state law. There are a couple of times during a school year where we will actually eat food in this lab. Okay. But that is after I have personally hand scrubbed every inch of lab surface in this room. Does that make sense? I'm not going to do that every day, so that's why you can't eat most of the time. But I will let you know when those labs are coming. Be safe. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can really hurt yourself in chem if you don't do it right. I'll teach you how to do things right, but be safe. Be on time. Be prepared. Yeah. Have your calculator and a pencil. I let people use their phonulators sometimes during class. If you're ever like, can I use my phone calculator right now? You can just double check, and most of the time I'll be like, yeah. Never on the quiz, though. Always have to, and I have a big bin of calculators. You can always grab one, no problem. Work well with your lab partner. You don't know who your lab partner is. We'll get to that next week. You will have a lab partner for the whole quarter. So you have 4 seats in my class, first, second, third, and fourth quarter. Your lab partner is your lab partner for the whole quarter. Okay. If there's ever like a serious issue with your lab partner, like come talk to me at the appropriate time. Like, hey, Mr. P, I like kind of want to share something or ask you something about my lab partner situation. That happens very rarely. I don't really expect that to happen, but things happen. So just let me know if there's an issue. But yeah, your seat that you're in right now, it doesn't matter. Tomorrow you can sit wherever you want to, but I'll officially give you seats sometime next week. Almost certainly in alphabetical order. So if you and your bestie have like the same last name, there's a great chance you're going to be lab partners first quarter. Right? Okay. All right. Anyways, yeah, plagiarism. Don't do that. Always clean up after lab. Usually it's like wiping your lab area down with a wet paper towel. It's pretty easy. Sometimes like, does this go in the trash? Does this go down the drain? Does this go to a special container? I'll just tell you. Okay? If you're ever doubt, like, wait, can I put this on the drain real quick? I'll be like, yes. Or I'll be like, no. 10th period, put up your seats. That's not for you guys. Yeah, makeup work. Like I said, if you're absent, go to Schoology. Always let me know. If you know you're going to be absent, like, yeah, Mr. P, my family's going out of town Thursday and Friday next week. What am I going to miss? Do you have the papers printed off already? Hook me up. I can do that. If you miss a quiz, if you miss a lab, come talk to me. It's on you to come find me to get whatever you need to make stuff up. Does that kind of make sense? Alrighty. And let's talk about grading. Okay. About half your points are quizzes and tests, or quizzes and labs. Sorry. Labs, your average lab score will be about a 10 out of 10 for the whole year. And we're going to do like dozens of labs. So that's 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. As long as you're safe, you're working well with your partner, and you are like actually doing the lab, like you're filling in your lab handout. Because sometimes I collect this. Okay? On a rare occasion, you could get a less than a 10 out of 10 out of lab because we do like a competition. But you could also get like a 12 out of 10 out of lab because we're doing a competition. So it just depends. Okay. But they're usually like pretty chill. Like they're fun. Tomorrow's will be fun. Be a nice, easy 10 out of 10. Again, as long as you don't do anything crazy. Okay. Now, lab grades and quizzes are usually fairly high scores for folks because the quizzes are exactly like the practice problems. They're not surprising at all. The tests are really difficult. They're the other half of the class grade. They're very hard. You will see exactly 0 multiple choice questions on a test the entire year. I do not do any multiple choice. We call them thinker tests. They're very difficult. We will give you lots of time to practice and get prepared. But yeah, and they're really outside the box things. Like, so sometimes I'll set something on fire on my desk during the test. I'm like, hey, number one, if you could explain what happened there, that would be great. And you're like, oh my God. Like, you have to really think outside the box, and we'll help you get there. We're going to get you there. But they're tough. But a lot of people kind of like them in a weird way, even though they're very difficult. So, by the way, on your very first test, you'll like this. On the first unit test, which is like 3 or 4 weeks from now, something like that, part of your test, to get full credit on your test, will be you will have to light something on fire in front of me for your first test. Kind of sweet, right? It'll be a Bunsen burner, and you'll have like a couple days in class where like there'll be like 15 minutes, like, all right, go practice lighting your Bunsen burner on fire over and over again. Make sure you know what you're doing. Like that'll be like a part of class one day. It's kind of awesome. Looking for somebody? 245? Great. Sit wherever you want. Awesome. I'm Mr. Pilcher, by the way. We'll get you an official seat tomorrow. Or no, not tomorrow. Maybe next week. Here's this, by the way. We're going over our syllabus. What's your name? All right. Nice to meet you. Okay. All right. So that's the syllabus. Let me go ahead and pass out something else for you.
You're a nerd and you don't know anything. Do you have any blue paper towels?
That's how you ask a favor, huh?
Yeah.
Miss Faye's always yelling at me for no reason.
Oh,
That's Miss Faye.
No reason. You might say I might yell at you all the time, but no reason is not acceptable. Do you have any blue paper towels?
Oh yeah, I have tons. You can have a million. I don't think so, actually. I think there's might be over there.
It's okay. You guys are gonna have a great time.
She's on the other side of the wall. She'll help you.
Yeah, I'll be around caressing. Okay.
All right. You're still here? All right. Off you go. Off you go. All right. Anyway, she yells at me all the time. All right. Great stuff. Here is a student survey. Hey, you guys want a really easy first grade of the year? Here you go. Oh, okay. You know where your class is? Okay. All right. All right. So you have this in front of you. The people watching the recording at home are like, who's that Miss Bay? Why was she yelling at Mr. Pilcher? That was like such a waste of time. So you got this in front of you, okay? This is a really easy, get like a 10 out of 10 on this, okay? So it's like an actual like homework assignment. If you don't finish it today, that's not a big deal. Just give it to me sometime next like couple of school days. That's fine. I got another thing I'm going to hand out to you here real quick. and I'll explain them both. This is a parent survey. You don't have to touch anything on here. You see your parents have filled out. So here's this. Here's that. Alrighty, and make sure you get this new power platform. Right there and there. All right, let's talk about this student survey. So it just kind of goes through. I'm just trying to get to know you. I read everything you write on these, so I really like to sort of get some background. What's your best subject? What's your worst? What do you like and dislike about science? And you can be honest. Like, you shouldn't feel like, oh, I like low-key, don't really like this about science. But why are you taking chem? Some people were like, you were really loud and played music all the time. Other people were like, my mom made me. Other answers fine with me. You're short? Which ones? The parent survey?
No.
The student survey? Well, you guys have sent a couple of those student surveys over to them. You get that pile. All right. Now, do me a favor. And when I ask for your old teacher names, you can just do like whoever you had last year. So if you had Miss Evans or Miss Isaacs, whatever. All right. Now, do me a favor. Flip to the back side of the student survey, would you? Flip to that back side there. Okay. Now, when you get to the end, the last thing I want you to do, and you can do this, you'll probably do this at home because you might not have time. You'll scan this little QR code. It'll take you to a survey. Now, if it says you do not have permission for the survey, all that means is you're logged into your personal Gmail, and you just got to log into your school Gmail. Does that make sense? Okay. So you log into it, and it will take you to a survey. You tell me your name and your class period, and just tell me your favorite song right now and who the artist is, and I will go get that song for you and throw it on the class playlist. Okay? So whenever we're like doing practice or labs or whatever, the music, it just comes from this survey. So whatever songs you put on there will show up. Yeah? Parent surveys. Oh my gosh. My paper skills are weak right now. They got you right there. So anyways, you can fill that out on your own time, whenever. And then this parent survey, we just look at this part right up here at the top. It says, bring it back by Friday, August 19th. That's a week from tomorrow. So if you give this to your parents, be like, Mom, fill this out. Okay? If they fill it out and you bring it back to me by August 19th, I'll give you a little bit of extra credit. Just like that. It just has like a little background info about you, and like sometimes your parents' numbers on Power School are like old numbers, they don't work anymore. So I have them like, what's your current number right now so I can call you, that kind of thing. So yeah, fill out that parent survey for me and get a free little bit of extra credit. Make sense? So for the rest of the period, just knock out that student survey. You can put the parent survey in your binder for now and take it to them tonight. And then I'm going to do a little demo thing at the end of the period, all right? Good times. A demonstration up on my desk.